What's going on, guys? F- Mike here. I appreciate all the support that I've been getting so far. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers, so thank y'all for that. The 1,000 subscriber event will be happening soon this weekend, so definitely subscribe and join the Discord server if you want to be a part of it, because those will be the requirements to actually win. Now for this video, it's going to be aimed towards more seasoned and veteran players of the game, as this requires some of the best 5-star units in the game. But I'll be showing you all how to get nearly 150 million damage in a single game of solo infinite mode. Now, if you haven't seen my other video on me claiming over 4 billion damage worth of gems, I'm going to be linking that video in the upper right hand corner of the screen, because I can definitely tell you that if you use this method that I'm about to show you, I'm not the only one who's going to be having all this drip. The map that you want to play on is the Demon Slayer Snow map. With the most recent update of the game, it's now possible to choose the infinite mode map that you want. On the Demon Slayer Snow map, you can place your units in better areas to get more DPS, and the map is longer, so you can push out 1 to 2 extra waves if you skip fast enough compared to other maps. Now, Zero Pain did make a video on how to get over 100 million damage in infinite mode a while back. So if you haven't already checked out his channel, subscribe to him and check out his videos as well. He's unarguably the best all-star tower defense player out there. So right now we just loaded into the map. Now the first thing that you want to do when you load in is you want to place a couple of Bulmas and you want to farm them out. And after you've farmed out for maybe 1 to 2 waves, you want to place down Fujitora to help defend the base. We're going to be tanking some enemy damage that'll be coming to our base. That way we can farm Bulma a little bit more to place down Fujitora. The reason why we're doing this is because Fujitora recently had a nerf to his upgrade cost. So it costs a little bit more to upgrade him to that level 2 where he has full range AoE. So you can see right there that I placed Fujitora on that path leading to the base. That'll help him kill those decelerates that manage to run faster than all the other enemies. So starting off with step number 1, you only want to use Light Yagami to kill enemies. Definitely place one Fujitora in the very back in case you don't want to use Light's Death Note ability too early. But the main person who should be killing all the enemies is Light Yagami and not Fujitora or Nezuko. Now the only exception to this is that main starting unit that you'll put down to help defend the base against enemies in the early waves. Placing Fujitora in the back will help defend against enemies that run faster than the main group, like decelerates and explosives. And step number 2, you want to skip all the waves. Now skipping all the waves will allow enemies to spawn in at the same time and overrun the map. And step number 3, you want to use Light's Death Note only when the map is full of enemies. Waiting until the map is overrun with enemies will allow Light's Death Note to get the maximum possible damage because it targets each enemy in the map. After using his ability once though, all you have to do is repeat the process and continue to use his Death Notes. The cooldown for his ability is fairly long at around 8 minutes, so place your next Light down, buff him with Irwin, and then use Light again when necessary. And right here, I'll give you a really good example of what I mean. You can see behind me that the map is starting to get overrun by enemies. So right now, we're just going to go ahead and go to our Irwins, and we're going to go ahead and buff Light. And by buffing Light, we're also going to be using his Death Note to take out all the enemies. And we're going to be using it in 3, 2, and 1. And that's exactly how you want to do it. And step number 4, you want to time stop as much as possible. However, don't start time stopping until you've placed all your Light Yagamis on the field and have maxed them. Time stopping will prevent certain enemies like decelerates and explosives from reaching your base sooner than usual, and will prevent you from using a Light too early before enemies can even spawn in the map, especially in the later game. Enemies should only be killed by Light's Death Note if possible. And of course, step number 5, you don't want to put that bleeding unit down yet until at least wave 40. Now you can still time stop with Dio, you just don't want to use them as a bleeding unit for Nezuko because she'll be the one who's killing the enemies instead of Light. You definitely want to place Nezuko down and max her out still so that you don't get overwhelmed in the later waves of the game where you have to time stop and Irwin buff at the same time. And it's the same thing with Fujitora over here in this corner. You definitely want to place him down, but don't max him out until the later waves of the game. And last but not least, step number 6, you want to continue Irwin buffing even after the game ends. You get about 5 to 10 extra seconds of damage even after the enemies have run into your base. Letting Nezuko and Fujitora DPS for a few more seconds could add 1 to 2 million more damage to your total. And we all know that more damage equals more gems. So we just hit wave 33 and you can see that all we're doing is just time stopping as much as possible. And then whenever possible, you can also Irwin buff those lights so that you can use his Death Note ability. Now I'm also waiting for those enemies to reach the back path before using light just like that. Now you guys can see I'm gonna start max upgrading those Fujitoras that I placed down earlier in the game. It's already wave 43 and I'm also gonna start placing those Dios around that path over there so that he can bleed for Nezuko. Now it's a good thing that we placed all of our units down earlier in the game so that all we have to do is just upgrade them. Because if you can see all the enemies on the map, it gets very overwhelming when you have to Irwin buff and also use Light's ability as well as time stop all at the same time. So it's a great thing that we did that earlier in the game. Alright, so it's wave 44 now. We're gonna actually start placing those Dios down so that he can bleed for Nezuko. Now you need to make sure you set him to strongest and also place them evenly across the map. Now the reason why we didn't place him earlier is because we didn't want Nezuko to kill all the enemies. But now that the enemies have more HP, yes, we do need to place Dio down and he does have to bleed for Nezuko now. So right now I'm placing the rest of my Dios down and setting them to strongest so that he can bleed for Nezuko. It's not the best bleed, but it does work and it will get you to a pretty high wave in infinite mode. So definitely copy these placements if you don't know where to place them already. Alright guys, so we just approached wave 52 and you can see that I'm still Irwin buffing those lights and I'm still time stopping with Dio to prevent the enemies from getting to the very back of the map. Now you do see those explosives and decelerates, they do run faster than the rest of the pack, which is why time stopping is really necessary, especially in those later waves of the game. Now if you do look in the upper right hand corner of the screen, I do have 131 million damage at this point, and I still do have a lot of lights left that I can use. Now we just approached wave 53, I did use about 3 or 4 lights and we do have 141 million damage. I'm just going to be Irwin buffing one last time so I can get the last of those Death Notes out to kill the rest of the enemies in the back of the map. And we just passed 146 million damage. Almost at that 150 million damage mark. Alright guys, so from that game of infinite mode, we got nearly 150 million total damage. Now because only players with some of the best units in the game can get that amount of damage, we'll be using the conversion ratio of 2 million damage for every 15 gems in our damage task. Now for reference, my damage task is already completed, so I can't show you how many times I can claim the task. But what I can tell you is that seasoned players of the game can expect to receive 15 free gems for every 1 to 2 million damage that they deal. So going by the math, we would have been able to claim that damage task more than 70 times for a grand total of more than 1,000 gems in that infinite game. Not so bad if I say so myself. And that's it for the video guys. As always, if this video has helped you out, like the video, join the Discord server, or subscribe to the channel so you get a notification of when I post a new upload. And until next time guys, I'll see you in the next video.